Hey everybody, it's Pineapple, and today I want to continue my discussions on stuff that's going to be in Season 6 of My Hero Academia, because I wasn't talking about it when the manga version came out, so we're going to talk about it now, because it's never too late. Don't ever say never. I am going to loop around to a lot of the stuff that I didn't end up covering, so today we're going to talk about Dabi, obviously. Since there's no My Hero Academia chapter this week, and obviously last chapter ended off on a very, very Dabi-intensive cliffhanger, we're going to talk about the stuff that happened in the war arc, actually, starting with that, and we're going to talk about everything that's happened from there, leading to here, and why I think that makes Dabi one of the most interesting characters in the series, let alone like one of the most interesting villains in the series, because I think he's just about there. He's just about getting there, taking his place at the top spot, right? Like Shigaraki lately has been a little boring, honestly, but let's not get into that too much. Let's start talking about Dabi and his reveal of being, I guess this is your like kind of spoiler warning section, Touya Todoroki. Do I have to whisper that? Dabi is Touya Todoroki. I should do ASMR, right, for you guys, right? Dabi is Touya Todoroki. Hey guys, it's Vocal Pineapple. Start chewing on stuff. But let's get into it. Let's start talking about it. So, a lot happens in the My Hero Academia war arc, right? Endeavor obviously has a big fight with Shigaraki. Endeavor fights some high ends, you know, along with Mirko, and there's this whole big lab fight and all this stuff. A lot of stuff happens. Mirio comes back, you know, Deku beats the crap out of Shigaraki, Aizawa gets hit with a crook erasing bolt. A lot of stuff happens. But one of the most notable things that happened, one of the shining lights of the war arc, honestly, in my opinion, is Dabi's reveal that he was Touya Todoroki. Because if you've been following my journey on YouTube at all, right? If you were here for the last channel, if you were here for this channel, especially if you were here for the last channel, though, a lot of my videos on my last channel were all about like Dabi theories and stuff like that really early on in the series, and they did really well. And then here I had started out doing a couple of those right after like my couple Deku videos. I have a couple Dabi theory videos. It's one of my favorite theories in the fandom, aside from like the theory whose name will not be spoken. It just involves someone being someone's parent. But besides that theory, and obviously the Aoyama traitor theory, I would say the Dabi is Touya theory was one of my favorite theories in the series. Even though, like, can you really call it a theory, right? At a certain point, it's kind of just like a foregone conclusion, right? But it's one of those things where, like, the author gives you so many hints that you know what's coming. You know what's going to happen, right? But then they subvert you. They're like, you thought you knew I was going to do this. Oh, you thought you knew it was going to happen. But no, I have like a subplot going on in the background where we're going to like completely change the way that you thought this was going to happen. And I really, really like that. So for Dabi, in Dabi's case, he decided to do it the most flashy way possible, right? Dabi decided that, okay, I'm on Makia's back right now. Hey, Skeptic, give me a little PowerPoint presentation, you know, edit this up for me, open Premiere right now, edit this. I got some footage, I need you to put it all together. I got some voice clips, I got all this stuff. Make it look nice, okay? And we'll see if we can talk further about, you know, future commission work, but make it look nice. So as a result of that, while Makia was pretty much ravaging through all the towns in Japan, making his way to Shigaraki, Dabi was on his back and he had Skeptic editing a video, and then we actually ended up seeing what the video was, because once Dabi got to where Endeavor and Shoto were and everyone was, he took the, you know, he has like a little pack that he has on his side, on his leg, that he's had like a long time, and he takes a bottle out of it and squirts it all over his head, and he's like, hey, I'm Touya. He's just like, the future never dies, or the past never dies, you know, whatever it was. And it was really, really exciting. He does like a whole dance and everything. I really, really love that segment, right? But that reveal on its own isn't enough to like put Dabi in like top tier villain territory. Yes, it's very good. He even thought so far as to include Rei in his plan, right? Like Rei was seeing that all this stuff had happened and he blamed her, and like he really like put the blame on the family, but as well as Endeavor. And I liked how like Dabi randomly going around and killing people in alleyways, it was leading to something. It wasn't just that, you know, Dabi's a psychopath, he goes around and burns people in alleyways. He was building up that body count so that when he revealed himself as Touya, when he revealed himself as Touya, and when he like tells the world all this stuff that he's been doing, and like then points to Endeavor as the reason why, it makes it so much worse for Endeavor, right? Like, it's like a public outcry, a public like, we just started believing in you. You know what I mean? Like, we just started liking you, Endeavor, and now you're canceled. You're canceled, because how? How can I support you after knowing what you've done to your family? How can I support you after hearing the story that I saw in the news? So we did largely see a lot of people losing faith, not just in Endeavor, because Endeavor's the #1 hero, losing faith in Endeavor, and it kind of had like a cascading effect to all the heroes below him, right? Like, people in general lost faith in heroes because of the revelation that Dabi was Toya, right? And not just because they all were like, oh, you know, Dabi's a famous villain, you know, like, Dabi doesn't have that much clout, right? But it's just the story is powerful in and of itself. And when you control the way that it's presented, like Dabi did by using Skeptic, when you control the way that you present information and when people like hear it the first time in a very certain way, you kind of control the narrative at that point, right? Like, it's kind of like Drake and Pusha T, not to take it to this weird like rap beef place, but like by Pusha T controlling the narrative and announcing that Drake had a child, right, in his song, and the way that he did it, from forever, it is Drake, you are hiding a child, let that boy come home, you know, forever. That's just what it is now, right? Like, Drake can say, oh, you know, I was hiding the world from whatever it was, but like, damn, man, you know, like, you kind of lost because you should have announced your baby first, even though I don't think that's everyone's business. Like, it's that instance here where Endeavor probably should have come clean at some point and been like, hey, here's all this, here's my family, you know, I have this child that this happened to him, and then, you know, all this stuff happened. He probably at some point should have came clean about that, definitely before he was the #1 hero, but even as the #1 hero, I feel like he was avoiding that piece of his responsibility, and this is that coming to crash down. Like, we've seen Endeavor growing as a character throughout the series, but Dabi very much puts him back in his place here with this action, right? Because Endeavor's been growing, trusting him, and just, what the hell was that? It looked like there was a jump scare or something just now on the screen. Endeavor, you know, has been growing and growing and growing as a character, and he's been getting better at his job, you know, obviously, because we saw the Endeavor training arc, he's very good at his job. But as that ramp of him getting, you know, more characterization and better at his job, we've also seen people in like the world of My Hero Academia starting to have more faith in heroes and in Endeavor, and like, okay, we don't need All Might. Okay. I thought we needed All Might. I didn't know what we were gonna do. We just have Endeavor. But now everyone seemed to calm down like a significant amount, and then Dabi just comes and knocks it all down. And while he's doing it, while he's revealing himself, Endeavor is just stunned. Endeavor can't say a word. He's just kind of sitting in a puddle of piss for like a couple chapters, I believe. And Dabi's dancing, you know, having a great time. Shoto's kind of stamina broken and mind broken. He's like, Dad, get up! It's awesome. I really hope they go like Saving Private Ryan with like the scene in the background, like the sound. I mean, like, you just like, you know, after an explosion, you're rocked. You don't know what's going on. Everything just gets deafeningly quiet. You're focusing on one thing. He could barely hear the words that Toya's saying because he's just in shock, right? Endeavor, like, I don't even know to what extent he knows about the clips going on all over the country at that point in time, but definitely a top tier reveal in My Hero Academia. Because again, it was something that we all kind of knew. We all kind of figured this was going to be the case, and Hori still made it interesting. He still made the reveal interesting, which is like, that's a radical ability as an author to be able to do that, right? To like lead everyone by the hand to a point, right? To like, hey, you know, okay, you think you know, but you don't actually know, and then I'm going to subvert your expectations in a way that you don't even expect me to do, right? Maybe you could piece it together, but you don't expect me to do it that way. And I feel like that's what adds a lot of like zest to that kind of that reveal with Toya. But moving forward from just the reveal, just the initial reveal, you know, because that's its own thing, we then see, you know, Dabi doing a prominence burn and all sorts of stuff like that. He does some kind of stuff to show, you know, I have been learning, I have been watching you, Endeavor the hero, I have been watching and paying attention. But as we move forward in the series, we see that like Dabi is really kind of the domino that crashed society, right? Like, and I feel like as a side character, it's very rare for like a person who isn't the main antagonist to have the level of effect that Dabi has had on the world of My Hero Academia, right? Like, Dabi has actually caused so much. Yeah, the war arc had its own effects, but like really the exclamation mark on the sentence that is the war arc was Dabi's reveal, right? And I know some people didn't like it at the time, most people loved it, but like the ramifications of just making people lose faith in Hero Society and like causing all the resignations that it likely did, the shockwaves that it sent through the Todoroki family, obviously, like that was a very big deal. We had to see them kind of reconcile and come together in a very big way. And all of that had to be very hard on Endeavor, which is like what Toya wanted, right? Like, it reached the desired effect. And I know that we think right now that Endeavor is going along with his family plan, right? We're going to save Toya, we're going to do this and that. It's not looking very likely. It's not looking very likely, folks. let me tell you, we're gonna be on season 6 stuff, but it's not looking very likely that Toya is gonna be saved. So, right? Maybe season 6 is gonna be the last time you could really truly appreciate Dabi before his kind of final appearance in the war arc, because I don't know if this guy's built to last until the end of the series, but he definitely had a very big showcase in season 6. And I wonder, because this is a season 6 video and not just like a manga discussion video, I wonder how they're going to adapt that. That's kind of my larger question for this video, right? Because again, we are doing these videos because I am worried about season 6, and I'm worried that I'm not going to be interested enough to really talk about it when this stuff happens in the anime, because maybe it will be adapted poorly or anything like that. With Dabi's dance, I wonder if, like, how are they going to do that, right? You know what I mean? Like, do you give him like an actual whole dance number? That would be fun. I would love that. And how do you frame that against the chaos of what's going on the battlefield, right? And how do you frame that against like just everything happening? You know what I mean? Like the very serious, tense situation that everyone is in. It's hard to frame that against Dabi having like a silly dance, right? But maybe it'll be like, maybe the desired effect is for it to be creepy, right? Which it kind of is. Dabi is kind of a very creepy looking character, right? Especially with like his burns after the war arc and stuff like that. He does bring the fire anytime he gets the focus in the series. And honestly, at this point in the series, like with a lot of stuff that's happened with Shigaraki, which we will get into in a future video, we'll talk specifically about everything that happened with Shigaraki in the war arc. Maybe even like, I don't know if we'll talk about stuff that happened immediately after the war arc, because I don't think the Star and Stripe section is going to be in the next season, but we will talk about Shigaraki and why I feel like he's getting a little less interesting as a character. But Dabi's stock is just going up. It just keeps rising, and I don't know, like, it's hard as a Dabi stan and as a Shiggy stan to like see one of my favorites kind of deplete a little bit, not too much. Not to say like Shigaraki's ruined as a character or anything like that. His stock has just gone down a little bit, you know what I mean? And I feel like Dabi's keeps rising, and that's why I'm very excited to see Dabi in season 6. As long as it's adapted correctly, you know, as long as everything is done right. Bones' fire is always pretty good, you know, their fire effects and stuff like that, their fire animation is always pretty great. But I'm hoping that we really get a little extra focus on Dabi next season, right? Like this season, we had a lot of focus on the heroes and the students, right? The students got their kind of, you know, class 1A versus 1B matches. I almost called it provisional matches, but it's not. They had their matches, and we got a lot of good animation, a lot of good focus on them. With the series coming to a close, really likely only having 7 seasons or 8 seasons in the anime, probably 7 seasons in the anime, right? Like, with this series coming to an end, I really want to start seeing like animation showcases for certain characters that we haven't gotten to see all that much, right? Like, I would love to see Dabi get like a Shoto or Endeavor level fire scene, like, you know, where like Shoto obviously has a season 2 scene where he does, you know, Heaven and Ice, whatever. And then Endeavor obviously has the High-End Nomu fight, and we're surely going to see more great Endeavor stuff. I really want to see some crazy Nakamura or somebody else, impact framey, just nuts, fire Dabi stuff, right? Especially if he's going to be like breaking apart and stuff like that. Like, I really want to see that kind of stuff in season 6. So hopefully they don't disappoint. And yeah, I guess that's everything there is to talk about. That's why I think starting in season 6, Dabi has really honestly become one of My Hero Academia's most interesting characters, and possibly My Hero Academia's most interesting villain, right? Like, he is definitely, anytime he's in the plot, you know it's gonna be interesting. And we're literally all sitting here in the manga waiting on bated breaths for next chapter. There's no chapter this week, so that's kind of why we're doing this video today. But next week, we're gonna get the true Dabi backstory. Like, actually what happened to him. And we get a lot of that in the war arc. Not to completely skip over that, actually, I just realized. We get a lot of that in the war arc, showing like what happened to Dabi to a certain extent, right? We get this very sad backstory about, like, you know, Endeavor being a bad dad, Dami kind of, Toya being a little kind of like, you know, oh, he's cute, oh wait, he's a little messed up actually. And that whole family situation, really we delve deeper into that in the manga, but I do kind of want to leave some things for season 6. Even in the last video of Deku, I didn't want to share everything, so I'm gonna leave the mystery behind, like exactly how Toya is Dabi for the season to kind of cover to a certain extent. But we are getting like the true, like the completed version, because in the war arc you only get so much of it, right? Now we're gonna get the completed version in the next chapter or so who knows? It's anybody's guess. I do have a theory that Dabi, you know, burned away, and, you know, kind of his quirk is really like a phoenix quirk. That's a popular theory now also. So we'll see if it's that. We'll see if I was right about that, or if it's something else like All for One, or Dr. Garaki saved him and, you know, replaced the portion of the jawbone that was apparently found when he was, you know, apparently supposed to be in the Shoto Peak. So we're going to see where that goes in this next chapter. But as far as season 6, I don't think we're going to see much of Dabi after the war arc. I don't remember him doing much during like the prison break. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. And I don't think we're really going to see him do much but like recovering, right? And like maybe, I think it would be cool to end next season off on a cliffhanger for like the war arc or something, but I don't think we're going to get that far, honestly. The war arc is pretty chunky, and then we still have to cover the Vigilante Deku arc, or the Dark Deku arc, or Deku Black arc. Maybe they could squeeze in Shigaraki versus Star and Stripes, because that's just one fight, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you could squeeze that in, but I don't think we're going to see Dabi beyond his main kind of portion in the war arc. So look forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little worried still, but you know, hopefully when we start seeing trailers and stuff like that, it gives us a better idea or a better look at what we're going to be seeing. But I'm still kind of worried because, like, you know, we know the beginning of the season can look great, but I want the majority of the season to look great. You know, we know the first half with the students last season looked fantastic, but then what ended up happening, right? We got some of like the worst episodes ever out of a My Hero Academia season. So I'm hoping that it's not just like they blow the budget on Mirko versus Nomus and, like, you know, Shigaraki's Awakening and early stuff like that. I hope there's still great animation left for like Dabi and stuff like that. And I know that always comes down to time, and it's not so much about budget. It's really kind of a time thing. But I hope they dedicate time to it. I hope they've been working on it hard, because Dabi's dance, it's like a iconic moment in the manga. You know what I mean? Like, it really, really is. It trended more than the presidential election. Fun fact. Dabi's dance came out, the spoilers came out right as the presidential election was happening. Biden versus Trump. Biggest election in a while, right? You know what I mean? People were kind of like biting their nails. It was a massive deal. Dabi revealing himself as Toya trended over that. Like, if the US election was number 2, Dabi was number 1. That is insane. So please, I hope Bones pays, you know, really good attention to this scene. I hope they do it justice. I hope they do the backstory justice. I can't wait to see it. I like when My Hero Academia gets emotional, so I can't wait. I'll see you guys later. It's Pineapple. Peace.